Hey YouTube, got a little cold weather moved in end of November, and I decided to head out to the property and camp. I have some work to do, had a bunch of trees to take down, and I do show some clips of the Blu Ox doing her duty and hauling some logs. But I had some new gear items that I wanted to test out, so I'll show a couple of those, and just in general had a great time. As always, I don't just survive, I thrive, so made some good chow. Give me energy to take the cold and also get the work done. So hopefully you'll enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. So just got out here. It's Black Friday, and to all you shoppers, this is definitely the way I prefer to spend my Black Friday. The weather is going to be kind of interesting. This is going to be my first real, I would call it, solid winter camp. It's spitting snow right now. We don't expect to have any real snow. I think it's just a cloud that's going to move past us, but it's been spitting snow for about half an hour. We're supposed to be getting down into the very low 20s, and we're supposed to be getting some winds, so we're going to have some wind chills probably down around 15 to 17 degrees. So it should be fun. I'm out here for 2 days. I've got a lot of logs that need to be delimbed, dragged up to the wood pile, cut and stacked. So I'll be doing that for the next 2 days, and just in general having fun. So kind of fun. I was not expecting this little bit of snow, and I know it's not going to continue. I know it's not going to accumulate, but it's still fun. Very neat. All right, I got to get some wood chopped. Got very few logs on my stack, so I cut up a bunch of logs. I'll get them on the stack, and then I'll start chopping up firewood for tonight. It's going to get cold and blustery. It's certainly going to be cold in the morning when I roll out, and I want to have everything ready. If you guys watch my previous videos, you know that about a year ago, I guess more like 2 years ago, I switched over to using a cot when I winter camp. And a lot of people think it's strange because they think if you're on a cot, you got cold air underneath you and all that good happy stuff. And to be honest, I kind of had the same impression originally, but one of my subscribers talked to me about his use of a cot, and I decided to try it. And it's worked out really well for me. I like it a lot better than sleeping on just an air mattress on the floor of the tent. So here's the old cot that I've got, and I'll leave links for all this stuff below. But you know, as always, just do your own research and pick your own equipment. This is just my impression of equipment that I've purchased, right? So this is a monster of a cot. This thing will support 600-pound load, which is insane. It's really taut when it's put together, but it's a little challenging to get it put together. So it's big, it's awkward, it's heavy. When you're in the tent working, you don't have a lot of room, and it's a standard type cot, so it folds out differently. So, but it sleeps really well. So it's the Timber Ridge XL. They make another version of that same tent that has a little less weight-bearing capabilities, but it's fairly inexpensive. It's a standard old cot. It's probably like $95, but it does weigh about 32 pounds, and like I said, it's awkward. So I'm going to set the camera down. All right, so I'd show it to you inside the tent, but that's, again, it is awkward, and it's kind of hard to have the camera set up in there. It comes in 2 Velcro straps and 2 supporting bars on the side of it. Comes with this nice case. I've used this thing a ton. It has worn a little tiny bit. For the most part, this case, I bet you if I threw it in the washer real quick and scrubbed it down, it'd look almost brand new. All right, so here's the tent. It's got 2 Velcro straps that go around it to hold it together, which is nice. Those straps are permanently mounted to the frame, so you don't have to worry about losing them and trying to find them when you're packing up camp. And so let's get these out of the way. Here's the way these cots work. And as I said, this is a standard typical cot, right? So the pieces fold back on themselves. Well, you're not going to be able to see that. The pieces fold back on themselves, and then they come up like this. The center one will pop out, and then this one folds back on itself, and this one folds out. So now, take this cot, get it positioned, get it opened up. Very wide, very long. I'm only 200 pounds and 6 foot tall. And this is a absolutely huge cot for me. So then you take these bars, and this is what I talk about with it being, you know, a little bit more challenging to set up. So once you get that past that part, you get these, and there's little notches here. There's little rubber tabs, and you put those down, and you've got to force it down. That's not that difficult out here, but when you're in the tent up against the side wall, it can be challenging. So let me see if I can show you here. You've got the little plastic tab that I mentioned. All right, so you take and you slide the bar through the loop on the end. And you line up, and the second one is a little harder, so you line up the tab. I think that's locked in there. Sometimes it'll pop loose, and then you do the other side, and you've really got to stretch it. There it goes. So as I said, you've really got to put some pressure on it, and it's a little bit challenging inside the tent. Let me make sure. Yeah, that one's in there. All right, so once it's together though, very taut, very wide, very long, more than enough room for my self-inflating insulated pad with room on the sides. This one doesn't have a pocket. The lower cost, lighter weight option for this tent does have the little pocket hanging off the side of it, but because there's so much space here, I tend to put all my stuff, my keys, my wallet, my knife, my glasses, my phone, the air mattress come to here, and then I just use this space for storage. So that's the Timberland. So now let me show you this King Camp. And I was kind of skeptical, and I still may be. It comes in, so start off with, this is only 12 pounds versus this, which is at least 32 pounds. And it may be 37 pounds, I don't remember for sure, but it's a heavy beast. This is super light, right? Comes in a standard drawstring bag. I doubt that this bag will last overly long, but I'll hold this bag up. It actually does come out of this bag really easy, and because it's light and easy to manipulate, then that becomes much easier. So as you can see, it's lighter metal construction. These are heavy square bars, okay? These are lighter. The plastic is probably nowhere near the quality of those plastic feet, because those are just over top of that steel. You can see there. So that thing is much beefier. This, a little bit lighter, got some aluminum, got some cheesy metal bars on it, but check out how easy this thing pops up. So you take it, pick it up, it's done. Okay, now when you lay on it, it'll go flat, but it's got the pocket on it. It's capable of supporting 250 pounds, and I almost guarantee this thing will wear out faster. And this is just a hair cheaper than that one. So this came in at $87. So you're only really saving, you know, maybe $8. So it's not a big cost savings, but from a ease of use, ease of setup, ease of breakdown, because it breaks down just as quickly. You break it down, you stick it in its bag, and it's done. I mean, it's really fast. This tent takes some effort to get it all folded up, especially when you're in the tent, and obviously that is too large to put through that door when it's in its made up form. So it's not like you're going to put it together out here and then put it through the door. So the King Camp, let me lay on this thing really fast and get it flattened out. So there you go. As I said, one of the things I like about the cot is that I can sit on it when I get up in the morning or when I'm going to bed at night, and take off my shoes and my clothes a little bit easier than when I'm laying on the ground. I'm over 60, and it's not all that easy for me to do sometimes. With the cot, it's easier now. As you notice, the king camp is not as high as the timber ridge, so that's a slight advantage to the timber ridge. It gives me a little bit more height, but honestly, this one works well enough. If you want to go with something that's a little lighter weight, easy to set up, at this point in time, I recommend the king camp. I've used it 3 times now, and for multi-days, and this is going to be a multi-day trip as well. My air mattress fits on it just fine, and I've got the pockets for storage, so fantastic option. So as I go long term, if I see any issues with it, I'll let you guys know, but for right now, I think this is really my preferred option. And here it is all set up. Another thing that I like about this, the other cot is so long and wide that it'll touch up on the ends, and you have to keep it out a little bit because of these corners, and then it takes up more room out here, so you have very little room. And I like all this room. I got all my gear bags and everything stored over here, all my snug sacks for all of my camp chairs and everything else sitting over here, and I got plenty of room. See the pocket there, nice and handy. You can see it overhangs just a little bit on both ends, but that's fine. I've slept on this a couple of times already, and it actually sleeps really well. There's no overlap on the sides, as you can see. So yeah, overall, pretty good system. All right, so I've been cooking with just my pots and pans on top of the grate for the fire pit, and that, although that does work, it works pretty well actually. I can't do like steaks on that because it's not food grade. It's all rusted up and everything else. Who knows what that paint is? So I actually picked up this. This was really cheap on Amazon. It's not really designed for a fire pit. It's more designed for a ground fire that you can scatter out the embers underneath the grate. But so if the bar was a little bit taller, that would probably help, but I think this is going to work. So basically I just pounded that stake into the ground. You see it's got a big V on it to make it sturdy, and then you put this in place and clamp it, and then this goes on here, and then it's supposed to clamp. Now unfortunately, because the pole tapers at the top, then that one goes over, so it's pretty secure. So that's kind of cool. So what I can do is I can have it out of the way when I need it to be, and then I can put it back over it. The only problem is going to be I can't completely cover the fire pit with my grate, but it gets pretty good coverage, and that's mostly enough. So I think it'll be fine. And then what I'll do most of the time is I'll leave all the hardware off of this. I'll only put the hardware on there when I need it to cook. That way I don't think those things will take too much heat. But that was only like $38. I'll leave a link below to the item, and I'll probably look to see if I can find an extension bar to go over this, because those mounts will support. I can open them up a little bit. I think they'll support a little additional, but if I could just find the same with same diameter as the lower part with a straight end, it would go over this flare, and then I think that that would work. I could get it up a little bit higher. I actually wanted to put it outside the fire pit because it'll certainly last a lot longer, but because of the width of the fire pit blocks, only the very edge of the grate hangs over the fire, which is pretty limited usefulness. But this should be good for, I could put pots and pans on that, I could put my coffee pot on that, I could actually grill on it because it's food grade surface and paint. So yeah, we'll see. I don't even know that I'm going to cook anything this weekend that I can utilize it for, but we'll see what's up. All right, all set up for the evening. It's only about 12:30 in the afternoon, so I got plenty of time yet. I'm going to get some work done, but wanted to make sure I got camp set up. Got all the wood chopped. I got more wood over in my normal pile, but that should be sufficient for this tonight, tomorrow. I probably need a couple more logs for tomorrow night and tomorrow morning maybe, but or the following morning. We'll see. That should get me through. But yeah, I think it's going to be an awesome night. So I worked up an appetite. It's actually past my lunchtime. It's about 1:30. I'm doing a pie iron sandwich. It's cold out here today and I want something hot, so I'm doing a pastrami on rye in the pie iron. So you heat up the pie iron. I've got some cooking spray inside of it, non-stick, and then I'll put a little butter on each piece once it's pre-warmed. Melt that, put the bread on it, put the meat and cheese in between, about 5 minutes aside, and then I'll pull it, check it out, make sure it's good, and then I'll put my Thousand Island and my sauerkraut on it. Alright, so it should be preheated. I've got my handy dandy little trivet here from my Omni oven. I'll use that, yeah. Alright, so got that preheated. A little butter in there. I have to do all this one-handed. So I'll go ahead and put my rye bread. Show up. All right, so I get my pastrami and my Swiss cheese. So once you've got that positioned, it's got this little locking hook right here. You clip that, you put it back over the fire. We'll let that sit 5 minutes each side. All right, so I checked it once or twice and I think it's pretty much done. So let's check this out. Oh, look at that. That is a marvelous looking sandwich. Oh yeah, that is beautiful. All right. A little Thousand Island on it. A little sauerkraut. There you go. Pastrami over the fire. Gotta love it. So the Blu Ox is out here this morning earning their keep. Cut down about 15 trees, delimbed some of them. Now I'm snaking the rest out with the winch and delimbing them and then dragging them over to my wood pile and cutting them up. But this is exactly how The Blu Ox got her name. We've probably done about 50 to 60 trees so far since I bought the property. And the Badlands winch has held up beautifully. I've never actually used it to rescue a vehicle, but I've done a lot of this. Hey YouTube, as I said, had quite a bit of work to do. Here's all the trees that I cut up. We'll have those seasoned for a couple of years, and then I'll split those up, make short work of that. Really the project is to get the trees out of our view so that the new house has a great view. And then, as I said, I tested some new gear. I did wind up using this a little bit for the just heating my water, and this worked great. I was able to swivel it out of the way, maintain the fire, swivel it back in. Everything seemed super solid, and it just worked great. And then, of course, I made some good food. This is another pie iron breakfast that I did. It's just hash browns, cheese, cooked bacon, and eggs all mixed up and then slapped in there with some butter. Super good breakfast, very hearty. And in general, had a great time. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you've got any hints on winter camping that you've done, leave some comments down below. I love to learn from other folks. There's all kinds of interesting stuff that you pick up on. So, hey, appreciate you watching.